Vanakkam, good morning. In this video, we are going to discuss about the cerebellum, mainly functional division, internal connections and functions of the cerebellum. Anatomical divisions of the cerebellum. The cerebellum is divided into the three lobes by the two fissures, anterior lobe, posterior lobe and flagello-nodular lobe. Functional divisions of the cerebellum. Spinocerebellum consists of the central vermis, this violet color central vermis, and this blue color intermediate zone of the cerebellum, otherwise called as the paravermis. The vermis intermediate zone combinedly called as the spinocerebellum. It is important for the motor execution. So the vermis control the motor activities of the proximal limb, intermediate zone control the motor activities of the distal limb. So it is important for the motor execution. And cerebrocerebellum, the lateral portions of the cerebellum is the cerebrocerebellum. It is otherwise called as the neocerebellum. This is important for the motor planning and programming of the movement is due to the cerebrocerebellum or neocerebellum. This green color is the vestibulocerebellum, made up of flagello-nodular lobe. This is important for the balance and balance. Mainly it is maintain the balance of the movement. The cerebellum has the three layers. Outer molecular layer. This blue color area is the outer molecular layer. It contains the stellate cell and basket cell. Stellate cell and basket cell. And middle Purkinje layer. Middle layer is the Purkinje layer. It is made up of Purkinje cell. It is the largest cell. It has many dendrites. So middle layer is the Purkinje layer. Inner layer is called as the granular layer. It contains the granule cell and Golgi cell. So three layers made up of five cells. So the afferent fibers is coming from the mossy fiber and climbing fiber. This is the mossy fiber. This is the climbing fibers. Afferent impulses coming from the mossy and climbing fibers. The cerebellum contains four deep cerebellar nuclei. The tendate nucleus located in the cerebrocerebellum, and fastigial nuclei. The blue color is located in the vermis region, and globus nucleus, emboliform nucleus. Pink color is the globus nucleus, orange color is the emboliform nucleus. Both are located in the intermediate zone of the cerebellum. Both the nucleus combinedly called as the nucleus interpositus. Nucleus interpositus. Internal connections of the cerebellum. The mossy fiber, it receives a impulse from the many sources. The sensory impulse from all over the body, cerebral cortex and pontine nuclei. The mossy fiber stimulate the granule cells at the glomeruli. The dendrites of the granule cells form the glomeruli. The mossy fiber also stimulate the deep cerebellar nuclei. The granule cell stimulate the basket cell and stellate cell through parallel fibers. It is also stimulate the Purkinje cells directly. Okay. So in the granule cell stimulate the basket cell and stellate cell. This basket cell and stellate cell inhibit the Purkinje cell. This is the example for the feed forward inhibition. Feed forward inhibition. The granule cells stimulate the Golgi cell. The Golgi cell inhibit the granule cell. It is the example for the feedback inhibition. Feedback inhibition. So mossy fiber input to the Purkinje cells, many Purkinje cells. The one mossy fiber connect to the millions of Purkinje cells. But the climbing fiber is source is only one source. It is from the inferior olivary nuclei to the Purkinje cell. Stimulate the Purkinje cells, but the output of the Purkinje cell is inhibitory to the deep cerebellar nuclei. Inhibitory to the deep cerebellar nuclei. But the final output of the deep cerebellar nuclei is always excitatory. Okay. So this is the internal connections. During the resting condition also, the deep cerebellar nuclei excitatory. When for the adjustment of the movement, the impulse from the climbing fiber to the Purkinje cell that inhibit excitatory movement. It is important for the coordination, that planning, programming, execution of the movement. This is the internal connections of the cerebellum. In the 5 cells, only the granule cells are excitatory. All other cells are producing the inhibition. The Golgi cell inhibit the granule cell, basket cell, stellate cell inhibit the Purkinje cell, Purkinje cells inhibit the deep cerebellar nuclei. So the granule cell is only excitatory cells, all other cells are inhibitory cells. So granule cells stimulate the basket cell and stellate cell. Basket cells, stellate cells inhibit the Purkinje cell. That is the example of feed forward inhibitions. The granule cells stimulate the Golgi cell. Golgi cell inhibit the granule cell. That is the example of the feedback inhibition. The Spinocerebellum consists of vermis and intermediate zone. The vermis receives the sensory input from the head and proximal part of the body. They efferent through the fastigial nucleus to the medial descending system. It is control the proximal muscles of the body and limbs. And the intermediate zone receives the impulse from the limbs, sensory input from the limbs. It efferent through the interposed nucleus to the lateral corticospinal tract and rubrospinal tract. Control the distal muscles of the limb and digits. It is important for the skilled voluntary movements. And the cerebrocerebellum, the lateral portion of the cerebellum is the cerebrocerebellum. It receives the input from the cerebral cortex via tendate nucleus, pass through the motor, premotor, prefrontal cortex. It is important for the planning and programming of the movement. And the execution is mainly done by the spinocerebellum. Vestibulocerebellum is consists of the flocculonodular lobe. It is afferent from the vestibular input, and it directly project to the vestibular nuclei without any deep cerebellar nuclei. It is important for the balance and vestibular reflex. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button and share your friends. Those who are not subscribed this channel, please subscribe. These videos briefly discuss the physiology topics. You must read the physiology textbooks. Thank you once again.